Hey team, Kat Miller here. I hope you are doing amazing and having an awesome week. In this session, I'm going to walk you through my signature 5-step framework for planning your most epic year ever. Now, you're probably seeing this everywhere in your feed, on social media, your email inbox. How to have the best year ever. So, why is this different? Well, this is simple. It's not some crazy, complicated framework that you need to go through. But over the last I would say 30 years, I've been goal setting. In fact, I set my first goals when I was 8. I remember having a scrapbook, and my first goal was to have a pet monkey. My second goal was for my dad to own a lolly shop. And my third goal was to have $1 million. And I would sit there on a Saturday afternoon and I'd change the order of these goals. So even from a very young age, I've always been a goal setter. However, I've never been much of a planner. I've never been great at planning. And so I needed to find a way that I was going to be motivated to sit down and create a plan. I love going with the flow. I love freedom. It's my highest value. And I kind of thought planning was almost a little bit restricting. I kind of thought that if I plan too much, it's going to box me in and I won't just be able to flow with life. The challenge with not planning, which is what I realized, is that you often don't hit your goals. So in this session, I'm going to walk you through the annual business success planner. It's a bit of a tongue twister, which I've created over many, many, many years. My goal setting process and planning process used to be incredibly complicated. And so I've simplified it, but I've kept the most potent, powerful things. And there's a few distinctions that I think are a little bit different that will get you thinking. So you've been hearing and seeing everywhere how to plan the epic year or amazing year, however people are wording it. But what if truly, outside of all of that cliche, you said to yourself just quietly, this is going to be my best year. This year coming up is going to be my best ever. And I'm going to make sure it happens. And I'm going to get some resolve and some determination and some grit, and it's going to happen for me. And there's really only one person that you need to impress when it comes to planning your year, and that is your future you. How could you impress your future you? In this session, I'm going to talk you through some imagination process and some dreaming. And then we're going to chunk it down and make it really real and really tangible. So if you're here live, welcome to the party, the planning party. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Pip. Hey, Trish. So good to have you here. If you want the planner that goes with this, just pop planner in the comments and I'll get that out to you. But you don't need the planner. Just grab a blank piece of paper, ideally pen and paper. Let's go old school. I know all of you probably grew up writing with a pen and paper. So grab that now and let's go through it. So a lot of people start dreaming about what they want for the next year, but they don't always have a plan to achieve it. So many times it just ends at this is what I want stage. But dreaming without planning often means we end up feeling disappointed. So in my work with my clients, we dream really big. We go super high level. So we zoom out. I call it zooming out and then zooming back in again. So I want you to zoom all the way out, like as high as you possibly can, and really dream big, because we are going to turn these into tangible actions. But the most important thing is that you have no limits thinking. Are we up for no limits thinking? If you're up for no limits thinking, pop in the chat box, no limits. Pop in the chat box, no limits, if you're up for it, to just let your mind wander and dream and go blue sky thinking. I'm looking at the blue sky right now. No clouds, blue sky thinking. So planning is so important if we want to have a year that's aligned with our values. So one of the most important things in my planning process is that what you're putting in place is aligned with your values. Because if you've got a whole lot of goals sitting on your to-do list from this year or last year or the year before, potentially it could be that they're not aligned with your values. Not necessarily. I've got goals that I know are just for the future. For example, writing a book. I know that this year wasn't the year to write a book. Last year wasn't the right year. Next year is definitely not the right year. I'm getting married. I'm doing so many things next year. I'm moving house. I'm moving in with my partner. There's going to be a lot of change. So I'm parking that goal to a later list. It's sitting on my later list and I'm going to get to it. Same with creating a podcast. But there are also goals that are maybe sitting on your list from this year that you haven't got to because maybe they're just not that important to you or that meaningful to you, or maybe they're not really your goals. Maybe they're someone else's goals or goals that you feel like you should have. But when we have goals that are very intentionally planned and aligned with our values, we do it in a way where it just feels really good, really exciting, and you should actually get an energy shift in your body. So I want you to pay attention to how you feel right now. Just notice how your energy is in your body. And as we go through this process, I want you to notice if your body actually changes. Does your body increase in energy? Do you feel some emotion happening? Because that's a really good sign that your goals, your plans are aligned with your vision. So that's the first thing. Planning is not restricting because you still have the freedom to do whatever you want. You can totally go off the plan. I often make a plan and I go off it. You know, it's like you plan to walk from here to an hour away and you might meander, you might go on tangents, you might go, hey, what's this over here? And then you get back on track, and then eventually you get to your destination 2 hours later, but you still got to the destination, but you enjoyed the journey along the way. So it's important that we do enjoy the journey along the way, and that our plan isn't restricted and restricting us, and isn't I guess making us feel like, well, I'm getting this pull and my intuition's saying go this way, but my plan says this. So this is all about how we approach the plan. But we can create the plan and then we can decide whether we stick to it or not. I love that concept of that story of the professor that taught his students about putting big rocks in the jar first, then smaller rocks, then pebbles, then sand, then filling it with water. So with this process, I want you to think about your big rocks. What are your big rocks that need to go in the jar, meaning your life first? And then what are the little rocks that fit around those big rocks? What are the sand that fits around that? And then what is the water that goes last, right? Because if we put the water in first, the rocks won't fit in. So big rocks for me are holidays. My holidays go into my calendar first. Self-care goes in first. Exercise is in my calendar. No one can book in my calendar because I've blocked out that time for exercise. Sundays, my time, spiritual day, sacred Sabbath, no work. So it's putting those things into your life first and then fitting other things around it, the secondary things around it. And that's based on your values, right? We've got a values hierarchy of lots of things that are important to us, but some things that are higher in the hierarchy. So when you have a plan, you don't lose momentum. So I remember starting the year, I'd get back from my holiday around like the first or second week of January, and I'd kind of start planning then. But you can lose momentum, and then you kind of don't really know what you're doing. You come back from holiday, you're in chill mode, you're a little bit unmotivated. But when you set that plan, you're not reacting to what's going on around you. You're not responsive to everyone else's plans. You're not scattered. You just basically come back, you get back on the path, and you hit go, and you know what you're doing, rather than feeling like you're wasting time and behind the 8 ball. So if you've spent any part of this year a bit confused, a bit frustrated about where you're at, a bit lost, like, what am I doing? What am I working on? What are my goals? It potentially could be because you didn't have a clear plan that you were following. So when you have that plan, you feel in control, you feel productive, you feel effective, and you're doing your thinking in one or more sessions. I actually do multiple sessions. So I start my visioning for the following year, end of November, and I start talking to people about it. I have conversations with all my friends, and then they'll say, you know, have you thought about next year? And I'll share a little bit about what's in my heart. And then someone else will say, and there's a bit more clarity. And then I'll have another conversation with another friend or my sister or my partner, and it just develops. So I spend quite a few different sessions on this, and I sit down, I do the process that we're going to go through, and then I revisit it, and it just gets clearer and clearer and clearer. And from a business perspective, if we do this right, we will know exactly how we're getting leads next year, how we're getting clients, and we'll have confidence for the year ahead because we've done a whole lot of that thinking in advance. So if you do this, next year is no doubt going to be amazing for you. If you want your business to grow every month next year, then we've got some planning to do. And I get it if you're not much of a planner. I wasn't either. But when you follow a process, it makes it super easy. So let's go through it. Here's a very simple 5-step annual business success planner framework. Super simple, so anyone can do it and you won't put it off because it's so simple. Number 1, we dream. Number 2, we set goals. Number 3, we look at the how you're actually going to do it. Notice that the how is at step 3. We don't dream thinking about the how. We've really got to separate those two things. Because if we're dreaming and going, how am I going to do it? I really want this, but how am I going to do it? It's very logical. We're in the executive functioning part of our brain. We actually want to drop into our emotional part of our brain. We want to dream, then set the goal, then figure out how to do it. And then we create an action plan, and then we review it. So dream, goals, how, action plan, review. Let's dive in, team. Are we ready to go? Hey, Amanda, great to have you here. So number 1 is dream. Now we could sit there with a spreadsheet and dream, but we go too much into our logical left brain because most of the time that we're sitting with a spreadsheet, we're a little bit in our logical left brain. And don't get me wrong, I love a good spreadsheet. Most of you on here know that. But when it comes to dreaming, we want to actually go into a different state. So we're going to write a dream list, but I'm going to take you through a guided imagination process first. And then we're going to write a dream list. So a dream list is a great way of looking at some of the most important things to you. Remember, zooming out. Later, you can sort it all out. Later, you can prioritize it, put it in order, create a plan, figure out how you're going to do it. But right now, let's just get them down. So first of all, you got to dream big. There is no downside to dreaming big. Some people don't because they're scared of disappointment. But if you dream small, you're probably going to hit it. You've all heard the saying, reach for the moon, you might land in the stars. So there's no downside, because when you dream really big and then you hit here, as opposed to I'm going to dream here, then I'll probably hit here. So dream as big as you possibly can. Search deep inside yourself and think about what exciting, bold, courageous, who's up for being bold and courageous next year? And I'm sure you have been bold and courageous this year. I know a lot of you have, but what bold, courageous dreams would you love to achieve in the coming year? If it's a big enough dream, it will probably be slightly or massively terrifying and exciting at the same time. That's the litmus test. Is it slightly scary? Because that means it's probably very bold and courageous. So this is what you want, not how you're going to get it. What do you want to be, do, have, achieve, eliminate, reduce, improve, all these things? Then we're going to make sure that your dreams are fully aligned with your personal values and your deepest desires. So make sure that you write down things that you really, really love, things you're passionate about, not things that you think you should want. This is so important. And include your personal dreams, because your personal dreams affect your business dreams. Your business dreams affect your personal dreams. Would you agree? If you're not looking after your health, your business is going to suffer. If you have crappy relationships, it's going to infiltrate into your business. So here are some examples in case you want to just get your mind flicking over. Maybe you want to share your wisdom to thousands of people. How could you do that? A podcast. But don't let your mind go to the how yet. But if you're thinking, if your mind shuts it down, then you might want to give it a little bit of evidence. Well, actually, there's so many ways I could reach thousands of people. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to do it. You could be a regular guest speaker on a podcast. You could on different Facebook groups, on summits. That could be a priority. I'm going to get X amount of gigs per year. You might want to grow your mastermind group. You might want to have a really successful, sustainable daily working routine. That's a great goal. You might want to have weekends completely off. I remember when I set this as a goal and I did it. And now sometimes I work on Saturdays for the joy of it, but I just shut everything off. I remember when I shut off my Friday calendar, I just shut down Calendly. Then I shut down Monday. Then I shut down Wednesday. And now I've only got my calendar open twice a week. That was a dream that I couldn't even fathom that. I didn't even know how to do that. It was beyond, I didn't know how, but I did it. Maybe you want to start a Facebook group. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel. Maybe you want to hire your first VA, or maybe you want to grow your team and have epic high performance in your team. Maybe there's a certain amount of money that you would love to earn, but your brain is kind of gone, that's too hard. The economy, the blah, all of the things that have been there in the back of your mind. It's time to dream again. It's time to go again. Maybe you just want to get more exercise and fresh air. Maybe you want to catch up more regularly with people in person. That's one of my goals, because I've been in my apartment way too much this year. Maybe you want to develop amazing workshops, masterminds, events. Maybe you want to invest into a business program, or invest into a one-on-one coach. Maybe this is your year to record videos regularly. Maybe this is your year to go on an overseas trip. So I'm going to talk you through a guided imagination, and you just need to listen to my voice and allow whatever comes up to come up. So when you're ready, just gently close your eyes now and take a nice, relaxing, deep breath in and let it out. So this is an opportunity for you to really connect in with what you want and how you'd like next year to unfold. Sit nice and comfortably. And I'm going to be taking you through a series of questions. Just relax. And as you allow pictures and thoughts and images and desires to come up in your mind, I invite you to blue sky thinking. No limitations. You can put your limits back on if you want later, but for this moment, just let your imagination roam free. Give yourself permission to dream big, to remember some things you used to want that have maybe got a little bit sidetracked or have gone to the back of your mind. Keep breathing, keep smiling. And as you're in this safe space, we're taking this time to look at your ultimate year that you want. I invite you to cast your mind out into the future and into New Year's Eve next year. It's New Year's Eve. Imagine yourself there in the fulfillment of your ultimate year. Imagine where you are, imagine who you're with, and you're celebrating your ultimate year. Imagine where you're living at the end of your ultimate year. Would you be where you are right now? Would it be somewhere else in the world, in your city, in your country? Take a moment to imagine that version of yourself. Who are the people that you're doing life with in your household, or a close circle of friends or colleagues? What kind of clients are you working with? What is your life like in your ultimate year? Just let the images, the emotions, the sounds, the feelings to rise to the surface of where you'd like to be. And when it comes to your business, ask yourself, what would I do in my business if I knew I couldn't fail? And just listen. What would I do if I had all the time I needed? Just listen. What would I do if I had all the resources I needed? What would I do if I had all the self-belief and courage that I needed? Are you working full-time? Are you working part-time? In this no limits world, what's your ideal scenario? Dig deeper. What do you love about your business? What is it that really engages you and inspires you and makes you want to grow and seek more skills and connections? What do you love about it? What are some of the things that you've done this year? And what is it about those things that captivated you, captivated your heart, your imagination, your soul? What do you love about these things that you've done? What have you achieved? How much money do you have? See the money in your bank account. How much money are you making regularly? Feel the feelings of receiving all this money because of all of the effort you've put in and the value you've provided. See yourself buying the things you want to buy. See yourself affording the experiences you want to have. Feel the feelings of having financial freedom, independence, abundance, success. See yourself being generous with your money to the people around you that you care about. Imagine the choices you get to make. Imagine hearing the gratitude of other people you've helped. And as we come to the end of this imagination session, know that what you've created in your mind is now mental real estate. It exists. You've created new neural pathways in your mind. So now this is something that you've created. It's unique to you. And as we come out of this moment, take a deep breath in and let it go. And when you're ready, feel free to open up your eyes. Welcome back. Hey, pop in the comments. How was that experience for you? How was it? Pop in the comments. I'd love to know, how was that journey for you? Hey, Liz. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? How was that journey? Pop it in the chat box. So that is the dreaming section. Who feels different? Who feels that their state has changed from when you first came on the video just by going into your imagination, connecting back in with yourself, connecting with your soul, your heart, and really feeling what it is you want? It's quite a different space to set your goals from. And I always recommend that you change your state to a really empowered, strong, bold, courageous state before you start setting your goals. So that's step one. And I've spent the most time on that because that's the thing that most people rush past and they go straight to their goals. Thank you for sharing. I'm really excited to read your dreams. Please post them in the comments. I would love to hear and celebrate. So now step two is to turn your dreams into a goal list. So once your dreams have deadlines or habits and trusted systems, they become goals. So when they're just dreams, they're just things that we want. To make them goals, we give them deadlines, we give them systems, trusted systems, and we give them ongoing habits. So some goals come to an end. We've done it. We've written the book. We've started the YouTube channel, whatever it is. But some of your goals will be habits, right? They'll be things that you need to continually keep doing. There are no rules on how many goals to set. Choose what feels inspiring and doable for you. Again, it should be outside of your comfort zone. It should be a little bit scary. And it actually requires you to grow. Like, dreaming big enough means that you're going to have to change. The same person that you are right now can't achieve those goals. You need to grow into those goals, which is why I love goals so much, because you actually have to grow into that person who becomes that person that achieves that next level goal. So now we look at which of the goals have a time frame, which ones are habits, which ones are character. You might have some character goals of the type of person you want to be. I remember one year I set a goal to be more patient, and I really worked on patience because it was such a weak area for me. Still is, still working on it. But don't just set goals with timelines. Set lifestyle goals, set ongoing character goals of who you want to be as well. Any dreams that you know aren't for next year, put them in a later list. And then set a reminder in your diary or calendar to revisit that later list. Now, here's the missing piece that a lot of people don't do. For each goal, write down why it's important to you, because this will strengthen your desire to achieve the goal when the going gets tough. Who's ever found that the going gets tough and goals get put to the side and life happens and you just don't achieve those things, right? It's life, it's normal, it's human. So write down why it's important to you, because otherwise you just probably won't be in. Like, procrastination comes when you're not really clear on why you're doing what you're doing. When you know why you're doing, it's so connected to your heart, to your vision, to your soul, then you go after it, you pursue it. And it's a really good way when you write down why it's important to you to make sure it's aligned with your goals. And don't be afraid to just cull. If something's not aligned with your goals, I had a goal once for years on my calendar. I was like, clearly it's not important to me. It was practicing the drums. That's right. And I just kept not doing it. It's like, I actually just don't want to. I just don't want to do that anymore. Cross it off. I felt like I wanted to keep up the skill, but then I thought, well, I can always pick that up again in future, and muscle memory is amazing. But when we remember why things are important to us, we start really attaching these pleasurable feelings to achieving your goals. So you write out your goals. So you might say, for example, I want to grow my mastermind group to 50 members. Why is that important to me? Because I want to help more people reach their dream business. Why is that important to me? Because I want to feel like I'm making a difference. Why is that important to me? Because I feel a gap between me and my potential, and it just doesn't feel good. I know that I can help all these people that are struggling, and I want to help them. So that's the why. Excuse me, team. That's the why section. Is this helpful? Is this, a vision board? Yes, a vision board. If you can put them up on a board, I haven't done one for a few years, but it's a great idea, Cheryl. If you can put it in your face, a lot of times we don't achieve our goals because we just forget about them. Like, could you list off every single goal that you set at the start of this year? I know for me, I just get caught up in the year and I forget to go back and visit them. So put them in your face. Remove any that aren't aligned with your values. Step 3, how. Now it's time to look at how we're going to achieve these goals. And this is where we need to let our brain be creative and run free. Big piece of paper is a great way to do it. These are the things that you need to do to make your goals happen. So this is where I used to get stuck because I wouldn't know what I needed to do to actually make this happen. So for example, you might need to create a masterclass. You might need to learn how to use funnels. You might have to reach out to 5 people a day. You might need to book in 5 coaching practice sessions a week. You might need to create an onboarding process. You might need create a new lead magnet every quarter. You might need to invest in learning Facebook ads. You might need to do a financial Friday session. Every Friday I do a finance session. Maybe you need to grow your Facebook group, hire a VA. Like, what are the things you need to do to achieve your goals? That's the how. The action plan is where you actually create your milestones. So you think about the resources that you need, the systems that are going to support your goal, making sure that you're covering all different areas of your business. Because, sorry, I need some water. Sorry, team. We tend to neglect parts of our business that we're not good at and we don't love. So if you have a look back at this year, and by the way, I'm doing an end of year review next year where we really analyze your year. But I wanted to do this first so that you can start dreaming, you can start planning, you can marinate over it for the next few weeks before you actually start outworking the plan. But make sure that you're covering all different areas of your business and you're looking at the areas that you maybe avoided a little bit this year and you're really leaning into those areas. So we now chunk it down to the first quarter. So I've planned my first quarter of next year. I haven't planned the whole year out. I've just planned the first quarter and I've done a bit of an outline of what I want for the whole year. So I find it a bit overwhelming to do a detailed plan for the whole year. So I just do more of a high level outline. I sit with my calendar. I put all my big rocks in, my holidays, my events, all of that goes in as a big picture outline. But then I go really detailed on the first month, the first quarter, and I break it down. And then once I've got the first quarter, then I'll get the milestones for example, the first 30 days. So we just chunk down, we chunk down, we chunk down. And we want to get down to 1, 2, or 3 actions that you sit down after your holiday and you know exactly what you're doing. You're like, right, here's action 1, here's action 2, here's action 3. So we're going to take your big dream, turn it into a goal, work out how to do it, work out why it's important to you, work out how to do it, and then create a plan of action. So that's step 4. Final step is plan a regular review. It's really unlikely that your plan is going to go perfectly and smoothly the first time you write it. So block out a time in your calendar. This is so important. Don't wait till the end of next year. Block out a time in your calendar. For me, it's the first Monday of every month is my whole thinking day. So one of my goals for next year is to have 5 minutes thinking time a day, just kind of like meditation, but I actually am allowed to think 5 minutes, and I'm going to extend that up to 10, 15, but I just want to get the habit first. That's my January habit. I'm going to have a habit every single month. So January habit is to develop the thinking time habit, 1 hour of thinking every month. 5 minutes thinking a day, 1 hour of thinking a week, which I'm doing at 4 p.m. on a Friday. It's locked in my calendar as a recurring appointment. 1 day of thinking per month, which is going to be the first Monday of every month. It's blocked out, it's done. And then 1 week of thinking time every 6 months. And that's blocked out in my calendar as well. And it's basically no work, shut my calendar off, turn my inbox off, and just think strategically. And that's my big habit for next year. But every month I'll be adding a new habit into it, because I tend to try and do too much. Is anyone guilty of this? Hey Rachie, good to have you here. Hey Liz. Is anyone guilty of setting way too many goals and habits and trying to change too much? Because you sit and you look at your whole life, you got all this space and you realize there's all these things you want to change. So the way I decided to do it is just add 1 habit a month, because I think, man, be pretty happy with 12 habits that I've nailed next year. So step 5, you regularly revisit your goals and your plan, weekly, monthly, quarterly, ideally. And you go back and you read through your planner, you make any notes, make any changes to your goal list and your action plan, and you just adjust things. Remember, the goal is not perfection. The goal is progression. You will have setbacks, and that's totally okay. Relax, smile, keep going, and put your goals where you can see them daily. Put them up in prime real estate, which in your home most likely is your fridge door, your light switches, your bathroom mirror, places that you see them all the time. I've got one up by my kettle because I look at it every morning. So put your goals in those prime real estate places. I hope this has been super helpful, team. I'm just going to recap the 5-step process. If you want a copy of the planner, I'll get that out to you. Just write the word planner in the comments and I'll get that out to you. So the annual business success planner 5-step process is dream, create your annual goals, work out why they're important to you, work out how you're going to actually achieve them. What are the actual actions that you need to do? Create your action list, chunk it down from big picture goals, quarterly, next 30 days, right down to your first 1, 2, and 3 actions that you're going to do when you get back from holiday. And then put in your diary a regular review. I hope that's been super useful. If it has, please like this video, please comment, please share your dreams and goals in the comments here. And I would love to celebrate them with you. I'd love to get excited for you for the year, excited with you. And let me know what you liked about this process. What stood out to you? What you liked about it. If you want our success planner, type planner in the comments. If you want help getting clients, if you want help actually executing on your ideal year, if you want me to help you to actually put it into place, just private message me and we'll have a chat about how I can help you actually outwork this plan that you've created, and we can have a chat about it. In the meantime, keep shining, keep showing up, keep sharing. You're amazing. Talk to you soon.